Imagine your favorite sweet treat, right?
Yeah.
But picture the company making it facing this kind of double-edged sword. Sales are actually going up, but profits are getting squeezed.
It's a tricky spot to be in.
Exactly. And that's the world we're diving into today, the fascinating and, well, sometimes challenging world of Lotus Chocolate Company Limited.
Hmm.
We're going to unwrap the latest updates from their corporate filings. Specifically, we're looking at a major new leadership appointment and also their brand new financial results for Q1 of fiscal year 2026.
Right. Fresh off the press.
Our mission here is to really pull out the most important bits of information, the key nuggets, so you can get a clear picture of the strategy and the financial health of this key player in the confectionery market.
And we're getting this straight from the source, the official disclosures they made to the stock exchange.
Oh.
So it's like having a front row seat to the boardroom decisions.
What's really interesting, I think, is how these two big pieces of news, the leadership change and these financials, they dropped on the exact same day.
Yeah, July 16th. It
Yep.
definitely makes you wonder if it signals something bigger, maybe a turning point for them.
Okay, so let's dive into that leadership news first. On July 16th, 2025, the board of directors at Lotus Chocolate had a meeting. It wrapped up late afternoon, around 4:40 p.m. Indian Standard Time.
And the key decision.
The key decision was appointing Mr. Natarajan Mayuram Venkataraman. His director ID, DIN, is 05324934 as an additional director, and importantly, a whole-time director.
Ah, whole-time director. So boots on the ground, day-to-day involvement.
Exactly. And this wasn't like, effective next month. It was immediate, same day, July 16th.
Okay.
His term is set for 5 years, but that's pending approval from the company members as usual.
Standard procedure, yeah.
So the big question then, who is Mr. Natarajan and why is his appointment, such a big deal for Lotus Chocolate right now?
Well, his background is frankly really impressive
Yeah.
and crucially very relevant. He's definitely a seasoned business leader.
Hmm.
Just since March 2025, he's been the business head for chocolates, biscuits, and confectionery over at Reliance Consumer Products Limited.
Ah, Reliance. Okay, that's significant.
Very significant. And before that, his CV reads like a who's who in consumer goods. He was managing director at Wrigley, India.
Wrigley, wow, gum and confectionery giant.
Exactly. And also managing director at Mars International.
Mars and Wrigley, so deep chocolate and confectionery experience then.
Absolutely. But it's broader, too. He headed grocery, fruits, and vegetables retail at Ninja Cart. He was business head for snacks at JK Foods, chief business officer at VLCC Personal Care.
So not just confectionery, but broader FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, and even retail.
Precisely. He's worked across the spectrum, big multinationals, Indian companies, even startups like Ninja Cart. That's a really wide range of environments.
That's quite a mix. What kind of specific skills does that bring?
Well, his expertise covers all the critical areas you'd expect. Brand building, figuring out the product portfolio strategy, route to market, how you actually get the product onto shelves.
Channel management, yeah.
Right. Supply chain efficiency, which might be very relevant here, as we'll see, and just general team leadership. He has deep domain knowledge in processed foods, beverages, personal care.
Okay, so he understands the nuts and bolts of this kind of business.
Definitely. And his education backs it up, too. He's got a postgraduate diploma in management marketing and finance from
Yep.
IOM Lucknow, one of the top B schools, and an engineering degree before that, electronics and telecommunication from REC Nagpur. Plus, importantly for governance, he's not related to any other directors. And SEBI hasn't barred him from holding office.
Okay, clear background. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Bringing in someone with this kind of deep and varied experience, especially in chocolate and consumer goods, what do you think that signals for Lotus Chocolate's strategy going forward?
Well, if you connect the dots, the timing happening right now of his specific skill set, it really suggests a strong focus on strategic growth, market penetration, maybe getting their product into more places more effectively, and potentially really optimizing their operations within this whole consumer goods landscape.
Optimizing operations. That sounds like it might tie into the other big news from that same board meeting.
Exactly, because on the very same day, July 16th, the board also approved the unaudited financial results for the quarter ending June 30th, 2025. So Q1 of their fiscal year 26.
Okay, so let's unwrap those numbers. How do they do in Q1 compared to the same time last year? These figures are in rupees lakh, which for listeners is 100,000 rupees.
Right. So revenue from operations actually showed decent growth.
Yeah.
Went up from about 14,130 lakh
Okay.
in Q1 last year to roughly 15,870 lakh this Q1.
So about an 1,800 lakh increase, that's what, maybe 12% growth?
Like
That's
that,
very
yeah.
fast.
And total income followed suit, increasing from about 14,140 lakh to 16,230 lakh.
So on the surface, then, it looks like Lotus Chocolate is selling more. That sounds like good news, right? Prima facie.
It does sound good.
Yeah.
More sales usually equals good news. But,
Yes.
and this is a big but, that raises the really important question about the full picture. What about the bottom line?
Okay. So revenue is up, but what happened with costs?
Exactly. Total expenses saw a significant jump. They went from around 13,100 lakh last Q1 all the way up to 15,835 lakh in this Q1.
Whoa. Okay, so expenses climbed even faster than revenue.
Much faster.
Yeah.
Which means profit before tax took a huge hit. It fell from over 1,040 lakh last year
Yeah.
down to just 397 lakh this quarter.
Ouch, that's more than halved. Considerably more.
Over 60% drop, yeah. And profit for the quarter, the actual net profit, shows the same story. Dropped from 685 lakh down to just under 300 lakh, 298.66 lakh to be precise.
Wow, so earnings per share must have tanked too.
Absolutely. Basic EPS went from 5 rupees 34 paise down to 2 rupees 33 paise. Reflects that profit decline perfectly.
Yeah, that's a really stark contrast. Strong revenue growth, but profits falling off a cliff. What were the main drivers? Where did those expenses balloon so much?
Well, digging into the expense lines, the primary driver, the big one, was the cost of materials consumed.
Raw materials. Knew it might be coming.
Yeah, that line item went from about 11,627 lakh in Q1 last year
Okay.
to 15,778 lakh this Q1. That's a massive increase. Over 4,000 lakh jump just on materials.
That's huge, like a 36% increase in material costs year on year?
Roughly, yes. It suggests really significant pressure from, things like cocoa prices, maybe sugar, other key ingredients. That's a major headwind.
Were there other factors too? Or was it mainly materials?
Materials were the biggest chunk by far, but finance costs also jumped noticeably from only 61 lakh last year to over 407 lakh this year.
Okay, that's a big percentage increase too. Maybe more borrowing or higher interest rates.
Could be either or both. And other expenses also grew from around 908 lakh to nearly 9,380 lakh. So costs went up across several lines, but materials was definitely the headline act.
Got it. And there was a note about restated figures.
Yes, good point. Just for context, the comparative figures for Q1 last year, the ones we've been using, were restated. That's because of an amalgamation. Basically, they merged a wholly owned subsidiary called Subhagya Confectionery back into Lotus Chocolate.
Okay.
That merger had an effective date back in May 2023. So they adjusted last year's numbers to make sure we're comparing like for like this year.
Yep.
It doesn't change the trend we're seeing, but it's important for understanding how the figures are presented.
Right, ensures a fair comparison. Okay, so putting it all together, what does this mean for you, our listener, trying to make sense of what's happening in the chocolate world?
Well, I think the key takeaway is this. Demand for Lotus Chocolate's products seems strong. You see that in the rising revenue. People are buying more.
Right. The top line looks healthy.
But at the same time, the company is clearly grappling with some pretty severe cost pressures, especially as we saw raw materials. And so the new leadership, Mr. Natarajan, steps into this situation where, yes, growth is there, but navigating these cost challenges, finding efficiencies, particularly in that supply chain, that's going to be absolutely critical.
So the challenge is turning that top line growth into actual bottom line profit again.
Precisely. It's that classic scenario where growth needs to be managed efficiently to be truly sustainable and profitable.
Okay, so we've really dug into Lotus Chocolate Company Limited today. It's a compelling story, isn't it? Leadership change and these financial dynamics unfolding literally on the same day.
Yeah, you have the board approving Q1 results showing that revenue growth, but the big profit drop, mostly from those surging material costs.
And in the same meeting, they announced the appointment of Mr. Natarajan, a really seasoned leader, tons of experience in consumer goods, chocolate supply chains.
It sets up a really interesting situation.
It really does. So maybe something for you to think about next time you bite into a chocolate bar.
Consider this. What kind of impact do you think a leader like Mr. Natarajan is skilled in brand building, yes, but also crucially in supply chain efficiency? What impact could he have on a company facing these twin challenges? Growing sales, but soaring costs.
Yeah, and maybe even broader. How might these kinds of strategic decisions at the top, bringing in specific expertise to tackle specific problems, how might that shape the sweet, but maybe increasingly complex future of the whole chocolate industry?